Merry Christmas, everyone! Coffee! The elixir of life. The reason why you and I are able to function in the morning. And what causes that little boost to our energy that we crave so much? Caffeine. But what is caffeine? That's a very good question, and while I'm surprised you didn't just Google that, I'm also not going to complain. Caffeine is a drug. Now, just because it is a drug doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's a stimulant that increases the activity in the central nervous system, primarily activating adenosine receptors and serotonin receptors. It basically prevents us from feeling tired and gives us that energy boost that we crave so much. Caffeine is the only drug that is legal to sell to children recreationally, and you see many dispensaries everywhere in the form of coffee shops and places that sell caffeinated drinks. Now, I mentioned coffee already, but what other sources of caffeine are there? Well, you can get caffeine from tea leaves, cola nuts, which is what flavors cola, cacao pods, i.e. chocolate, and there is also synthetically made caffeine typically drawn from decaffeinated coffee beans that is used in different items like pain relievers and Monster energy drinks. As you could probably tell, most of these methods are ingested through drinks and some foods or pills. However, there are also reported instances of people injecting it into their bloodstream, and there is a recent trend of people taking coffee enemas for quick intake, constipation, and cancer treatment. But please don't Google that. Caffeine has a lot of interesting effects, and not all of them are sunshine and rainbows. Because it's a stimulant, its primary function is to give you energy, and most people can ingest up to 400 milligrams without a problem. And that's basically 4 to 5 cups of coffee. However, if you go beyond that, you can start experiencing insomnia, headaches, dizziness, increased blood pressure, rapid or abnormal heart rhythm, dehydration, paranoia, dysphoria, and anxiety. It is also a diuretic, which causes you to urinate more, expelling more salts from your body. And it can also increase stomach acid, which can lead to upset stomach and heartburn. I've had a few experiences with stomach aches because of coffee, but it's not all gloom and doom. I mean, we obviously drink it for many reasons, and the most obvious one is to give ourselves an energy boost when we need it. And it also has an effect on fat regulation, where it increases the energy expenditure and decreases the energy intake we receive, so it can help you keep the pounds off. And because it's a stimulant, it helps people with ADHD by helping them become more calm and focused with that extra stimulation. Caffeine can interact with other drugs like alcohol and nicotine. In the study by Liguri, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, they tested the use of caffeine and alcohol together on the effects of driving. While the caffeine reduced some of the effects of alcohol and made them more alert, the subjects were still impaired and drove poorly. So avoid the Four Loko, kids. With nicotine, the effects of caffeine are extended longer than just of caffeine alone. And it also increased the effects of pain relievers too. Caffeine has been around a long time. From the xocolotl, that's a word, spicy chocolate drinks of the Aztecs and the tea cultivated around the world. It's been part of our diet for a while. And if we're speaking strictly about US history of caffeine, there was a famous case of the Chattanooga trial of 1911. In 1909, the US government seized 40 gallons of syrup from Coca-Cola trucks. Harvey Washington Wiley made the arguments that caffeine was poisonous and habit-forming. In 1911, there was a trial of US government versus Coca-Cola. An investigator, Harry Hollingsworth, was hired by Coca-Cola to investigate the effects of the beverage on people. He was a catastrophe, which means that he was so afraid of anything going wrong that he duplicated all his work so that in case anything did go wrong, he always had a backup. His studies found that there was no deleterious effect, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, of the drink. And because of his thorough and scientific approach, he shaped the way investigations into food and drugs are conducted from that day. Coca-Cola won its trial, but then 2 bills were sent to the House of Representatives to change the Pure Food and Drug Act to mark caffeine as an addictive substance, and must now be clearly marked as such on products containing it. Caffeine has impacted society quite a bit. It is the most used drug by Americans, and it shows in the sheer amount of Starbucks that exist out there. I mean, right outside of the classroom I'm in is a place to buy coffee. Even the Enlightenment period of philosophy and social change is argued to be directly influenced by caffeine, because many Enlightenment figures like Isaac Newton, Benjamin Franklin, and Voltaire would forego sleep and keep themselves buzzed on coffee. So while it's impossible to say that would happen, we probably wouldn't be where we are without it. And thank you so much for watching this video on caffeine. Now if you'll excuse me, I've only had 3 coffees this morning and I need my fix. Thank you so much for watching the video. This was from my Sociology, Drugs, and Addiction class, 3360, section 001. I don't want to give the names of myself or my teacher or the school I go to, but I hope this is proof enough for them. If you see a lot of reused assets, that's just because I made this video in 10 days, so I had to kind of really improvise with that. But I do have a new video in the works, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If you want to join me on my Patreon, that's excellent. If you want to join me on Coffee, that's also excellent. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I have a Twitter handle now at twitter.com/screamingguy, or, well, I don't have it in front of me right now, but it'll be on the page, so you'll be able to see what it is. And thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.